And welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, September 18th, 2023. Time is now 7:02 p.m. First item on the agenda, mail orders to be signed. We'll hold that till the end. Potential commission member, we are going to table that for now. So they are kind of putting their application on hold. Certificate of compliance, 56 Bigelow Road. So we also have Mr. Benoit online with us. Is anyone here presenting on behalf of 56 Bigelow? Okay.
I didn't even see it on here. It must be somewhere.
Let me see. I think we were waiting for additional.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I did the review for it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Everything's stable, and I think we had a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on over. Name and address.
What would you like me?
Anyway, right there is great.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
First one.
Brandon Fanoff. I visited the site with the owner. He showed me around, and I think that the site is in substantial compliance with the certificate of compliance and recommended a complete certificate COC.
Okay, thank you very much. Board, any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 56 Bigelow Road. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second.
second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
We can just do, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Moving right along. Meeting minutes, do you want to hold on those? Do them at the end, okay? All right, updates. We have CRG. Mr. Benoit, any update for CRG?
Yes, Madam Chair, we did get a brief update from Art Allen on CRG's site. I did read the review, didn't notice any major infractions or anything of that nature, so it looked like the site is progressing as scheduled.
Okay, very good. 115 Shore Road, culvert replacement. Did you want to touch on that? Mr. Benoit,
I didn't hear that, sorry.
did you want to touch on that update before I open it up?
On the next item, I
Yes.
apologize, there was a bad connection for a moment.
That's okay. So we have Jeff Walsh sent in an email late today.
I think you're talking about Shore Road. I can't hear you that well, but yes, from what I understand, the pipe was installed, and we were receiving a report from Jeff Walsh. We didn't get it until about 5 o'clock, so it's it should be at least customary for this board when we receive things late that we table to the next meeting so we have time to review it.
Okay. All right. I see the applicants are in front of me, so name and address, please.
Rauf Mankaris with Alpha Omega Engineering, and I have the owner Diane Miller with me.
Hi.
The pipe was replaced as requested, and Jeff Walsh was in the site during the whole replacement, and I did the as-built, and we have the as-built plan ready.
Okay. All right. So that's the only update at this moment, correct? Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Fanoff, did you want to, Jeff was taking care of this, right? So you haven't seen any of this, right?
I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Do they have that?
Yeah, that's an old one.
They
yes.
have?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll put it in the file and then we'll review Jeff's email. You got a copy of that also, right?
No.
Okay. All right. So we'll send along a copy and then
All right.
if I don't know.
And now for the order of COC for their house, this will be for the
October
next
2nd.
October 2nd meeting, I believe.
Okay. You're saying you're on the schedule for
Yeah, We
115?
requested to
We
be on.
requested to be
okay.
on the agenda. For,
Okay. Let me see.
I believe that was the last item remaining for the COC.
Okay. Let me see.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes.
I believe, I can't hear the audio all that well, but I believe you're asking about the request for certificate of compliance.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was submitted long ago, like January, February perhaps. It's fallen off our agenda because we've been working with the pipe installation and going through council and all that stuff. I'd be happy to add it to the next agenda
Yeah,
since
that's-
the request was received by this commission.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
that's
great.
a request.
Fine, no
Okay.
problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Are we getting a copy of that report from Jeffrey?
You're gonna send it?
You're gonna send it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we
thank you.
just got it, so,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, 17 Potter Road enforcement order. Yep, come on over.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I could, thank you.
Name and
Mr.
address,
Chairman.
please.
Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environmental. We did hear from Mr. Benoit today. We just received the final plans after a few revisions, and we're now only submitting, and we don't expect to be heard, but at least this is going tomorrow to be hand delivered to Rare Species Program, so we can get that 30 days going. This is the checks. There's 2 copies of the plan, some
Okay.
habitat, obviously all habitat restored, and that's it. And again, checks, NOI, and plans.
Okay, awesome.
We appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for hand delivering. Appreciate, nice to see you guys.
We didn't want to miss anything.
Yep, thank you. Are those my plans?
No, you have the plans in here. This is the real.
You always have more plans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the Keven Land, 41 Pine Street, donation from 2014. So this is the property that we were working on. It was donated. We approved the sign verbiage a couple meetings ago. And looks like they're making a materials list for the sign from DCR. Mr. Benoit, you don't have any other update besides we're looking for the materials, right?
That is all.
Okay. All right. I know there was a comment about the parking area and access, so I'll have to see. Okay, number 4, Lakeshore Drive enforcement order. Mr. Faniff, did you want to bring us up to speed as you had signed the enforcement order?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Wrong one. Let me open up my files. The enforcement order was drafted by Attorney Winter. I reviewed it, thought that it was good to send out, and it was sent out. Since that time, there have been some letters and emails that come back in from owners of the property, stating whether or not they actually feel that they should be enforced against. But I can tell you that myself and Mr. Benoit went there a couple of weeks ago, walked the area with Mr. Moran, and also met with Mr. Goodison on site to get some background on the issues and the area. And, you know, the question is how do we move forward from here?
Okay.
And I believe we have some folks, so I think...
Invited themselves right up here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the best way to go forward from here is to start the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to bring the board up to speed, so the enforcement order was issued August 24th. The restoration plan was due September 8th. We have an association recorded that has many parties involved. And we have one property owner that was affected that needs to be, have replication for. Is that pretty much?
Replication?
Restoration.
Restoration, right.
Restoration. So restoration activities need to be done on one property owner's parcel.
Yeah, I believe that's Mr. Moran, where there's been significant erosion, and also the cementation of all the sediment that's gone into Manchog Pond.
Okay.
That
But
is-
just the access point to
The access point,
that
correct.
property? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Name and address, please.
Henry Lane, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Moran
Okay.
and our engineer.
Okay.
Scott Rolfe, OHI Engineering,
Okay.
Mansfield.
Primarily, we're here because it's our opinion that you're sort of torturing the victim here. Mr. Moran is at the bottom of the hill in some sense, but he's not the problem. He is the victim. We have erosion, obviously, and water coming down Lakeshore Drive, takes a corner, ends up crossing his property. It doesn't leave the road on his property, but on the way down the hill, it touches a bit of his property. He has absolutely no responsibility for any of this. He is merely the victim. He's the one who ends up with the sedimentation. It's not reasonable to issue an enforcement order against the victim. So we're perfectly willing to cooperate, and we have our engineer on board. He is prepared to do the complete topography, to map all the flows and everything that needs to be done. And that, assuming weather cooperates, he will do that tomorrow. And he will have the full plan, you'll know exactly what's going on. But in the interim, we would like you to lift the enforcement order against Mr. Moran. At some point, if you come to the conclusion that he is in fact somehow generating this water, you can always reinstate it. But from an administrative point of view, it's just not fair to keep him in the loop at this point and put a burden on him to solve a problem that he is not causing. And we do have some documentation here, which I'm happy to share.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
You folks want to skip right to the second sheet, it's probably more pertinent because it shows what's on the first sheet as well. Mr. Moran prepared these plans. There are two, it's at this scale, I'm sorry to say it's difficult to read, but where the bend in the road is between lots 3 and 4 on the second sheet here, you'll notice that there is a star at the bottom of lot 3. That star represents an area where there's a post and rail fence that is included in this picture just up below the locus map. There's a solid blue line there that comes down and shows the flow of water based upon the flow prior to putting the hay bales in front of the post and rail fence. You can see this, it's a waterfall coming over the base of the fence. The dashed blue line is essentially the same route of water, except when you get down to, you look at the picture down below, the picture down below is looking toward the pond. The hay bales were installed in front of the post and rail fence, and what they do now is they divert the water further to Mr. Moran's property, and then it runs down his driveway toward the pond. But you can see in the picture above, without the hay bales, they just flowed over the embankment.
Okay.
And that embankment, well, it's a little hard to see, but if you look at carefully, you'll see that embankment on that picture where it shows the water coming down the waterfall. That's not Mr. Moran's property. That's his neighbor's property.
Yeah, Mr. Goodison's property, correct?
And once it goes down the hill a little further, it does cross Mr. Moran's property, but that, that's down below the problem. So he's being inundated by water that's coming off of his neighbor's property. So there's nothing he can do about it.
Right.
And when they did put some hay bales in there, you'll see they shifted the flow a little bit, But still, it's not, he's not generating the flow. It's coming down the road, taking the turn, and flooding,
Yep, I agree.
and leaving him in the,
But as far as the restoration is concerned, the activity would be on his property, so he would have to consent to people being on his property to repair.
and we're fine with that.
Okay, so I don't know what the burden for him is being included in the enforcement order if his property is going to be the restoration plan. It's
Well-
essentially his whole entire property is within this enforcement order.
I think this is actually a situation that's very similar to Shore Road that you just dealt with, where we had the same situation where some of the piping had to be on the neighbor's property, because that's where some of the ponding was occurring. And as you will recall, we entered into an agreement where the neighboring owner agreed to allow the work to be done on their property by the people who are responsible for doing the work. And I suspect that you probably signed that agreement along with the property owners.
Yeah,
And,
and you reviewed it, so
I
why don't I
reviewed
have an agreement from Mr. Moran?
and so we're happy to enter into
Yeah.
a similar stipulation saying
Yeah.
that, you know, the work that needs to be done, once we agree what needs to be done, and as I say, our engineer is going to be preparing a complete set of plans to show exactly what needs to be done. And we were happy to agree to a similar sort of arrangement, saying, you know, to the extent work has to be done on our property, and you identify the people responsible, we will cooperate. We're
Right.
not, we'd like our property restored probably as much
Right.
as you would like it restored.
And this board is not at the task to identify who is responsible for the damage.
Well, at some point, you're going to have to, you know,
No,
you're going to have to
untrue.
figure.
That's untrue. So, I mean, my position is, it's very simple. Mr. Moran is the person that was affected by this, needs to be restored, and the cause or the owners of the cause will need to pay for it. So if we don't move forward, so I've gotten no restoration plan, and it's 10 days overdue. So we have until October 2nd, is it? So I'll give until October 2nd, but something needs to be submitted. Now, I'm not saying that this is to blame, but there's an association. The association is to maintain in its present condition from January 2023. It is not in the same condition. We have plenty of pictures. We have fire, police, saying that it was suitable with grading construction. Now it is not. So this declaration of trust, Lakeshore Drive Homeowners Association, needs to maintain that roadway. And I know your client is not within that homeowners association. So I think the answers are very clear. It's just there's delays, and I'm not really sure, we want to remedy this as quickly as possible without fines and of these violations, but it's getting to be too long. August 24th, now we're almost a month. So I think if you're willing to do a plan, and we will be willing to authorize the restoration, and with his, I don't know if we can remove him, I have to consult with town council, but if he consents to the restoration work being done by another party, a third party, then I think that would be agreeable with the board. Can sound good?
Sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we can't solve the problem, you know?
Jurisdictionally, I have some other ideas outside of this board, but jurisdictionally, our main concern is only your client's property and what has been done to the bank and land underwater.
Well, as you can see from the photograph, it's not just our property that's affected here,
I understand that.
so.
I see that. It's just a mess. It's just
It is
a
a
mess.
mess.
It's an unfortunate mess. Board members, anything to add?
I'd like to see what they come up with as far as a fix on it.
Okay.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, excuse me.
Yeah.
When we do we're going to do a LiDAR scan of the roadway and land on either side, getting a very, very accurate picture of what's there. We can design something to restore Mr. Moran's property, but we can't put it in place until the water is stopped from coming down the road. So I don't, you have a deadline to get a plan done, but there's no talk of how to solve the problem.
Maybe the plan will be the clue.
Well, I
You
don't know,
ha-
how
did you
far
do-
up the road am I supposed to go?
That's in your professional scope. Did you do his original, the filing? Okay. All right.
No. The Gurr and Halnan did the plans for Mr. Goodison,
Yeah.
and up beyond that, I don't know if there were any plans done for the roadway. I think the road was just defined by Andrew's survey. I don't think
There was a modification, so I don't know if you want to review the file from Mr. Moran's NOI
Yeah.
also. I remember something, but it's been a little while. So, yeah, no, we're looking forward to seeing what you have for the
Cool.
restoration, and repairing the roadway, having that repaired, and all that.
Well, just so it's clear, I mean, it seems like, you know, as I said before, we're the victims, and we're the only ones who's doing anything.
Yeah,
You've
I
mentioned
understand.
several other people. I don't see any other plans or anybody making plans.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think you ought to put a little pressure on some of the other people to do what we're doing. We're trying to be responsible,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else is apparently ignoring you.
Correct.
And it doesn't seem quite equitable to not require the people who are causing the problem to
Well, I
do some
really like what
engineering
you're
and come up with
saying
a
about
plan.
getting us a plan and doing the LiDAR. I appreciate that, and secondary to the plan, we can see where that goes. So somebody needs to do it.
Yes, somebody needs to do it, but it shouldn't be us. You know, it's a little unfair to expect us to do that, and when you've ordered
I
everybody to do
expect
it.
everyone to have responsibility for their part.
And unfortunately, I don't see any of those other people here.
Well, it's not over.
Well,
Mr. Ford? Anything? Okay, Mr. Benoit?
Madam Chair, I just wanted to defer to Mr. Fana for any other input on this matter.
Thank you.
I can say that I wasn't around before any of this happened, so I don't have any frame of reference for what the area looked like beforehand. I know that Mr. Goodison had a notice of intent and a subsequent order of conditions issued. Looking at the plans could certainly help me figure out what the problem or problems may be. I do know that Mr. Goodison did create a berm and put up some boulders along the edge of his property where the road is, which I personally suspect may be adding to this issue because from what I could see and what I've been told, the water coming down the hill on the road did naturally flow off towards his property or onto his property in the area where he just received the order of conditions to build his driveway. And now there's a lip. And my fear is that where the water used to naturally shed out, it's now being compartmentalized and it's not able to leave the roads, therefore making the road a kind of a sluiceway.
Creating a point source discharge.
Yeah, exactly. Is that your,
We have plans that were done by Andrews quite a while ago, back in, when I was in
2020, maybe?
2020, thank you. I couldn't remember if it was 19 or 20. And they show the topography on the roadway prior to any proposed development on the opposite side of Mr. Moran's property and coming around that bend. And all the contouring, I know you folks understand contouring, but
of course,
the contouring is such that the contours, they angle this way coming down the road. Now, water runs perpendicular to a contour. So all these, all the grades on the Andrews plan coming down here shows that water being pushed off into what was a wooded area here.
right. Well, Madam Chair, my suggestion is that you have a plan with topo before all this happened, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing some new, highly detailed LiDAR topo. Mm-hmm. You could do the equivalent of an as-built plan to show the differences between the two and why you believe that water is being now funneled in the wrong direction, and they bring that evidence to the Conservation Commission to help the Conservation Commission help Mr. Moran.
See, I don't believe it was intentional, it was just, just the way it was done.
I have the feeling that that was the case, too. It was something that just nobody thought about.
So when you take something where water had sheeted off the side of the road over hundreds of feet, then you capture it and you bring it around a corner, and it's going to take the path of least resistance to get to the pond. That's exactly what happened. So it's a lot more flow in a small area that caused the erosion. So the trick is I can give you a plan to show how to restore Mr. Moran's property, but I can't go out and propose that somebody change the grading in their yard or Yeah.
But if you can identify where.
I can
from-
identify.
That's what Mr.
I can
Van-
identify the exact flow.
Yes,
Yeah, if you could show the difference
Where
between, pre
the
and post.
change was, yes. pre and post.
That'll help the commission, and it'll probably help Mr. Moran. As far as Mr. Moran being on the enforcement order, I'm in agreement with you, Madam Chair, because we still have a big pile of sediment that's in Manchog Pond, that's off of his bank, right? So, he's still, I guess, maybe it's not his fault, but he's technically still in violation because it's on his property. And the violation goes with the property, not the person.
Correct.
So I think that, my recommend to the commission is to maybe not put so much of a pressure on Mr. Moran, but, I don't think that it would be wise to take him off completely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't really know what him being on or him being off, where I'm not going to issue a violation fine for Mr. Moran. I wouldn't recommend that. So as far as, I'm putting a pin in all fines for this project too. I know that my fellow board members, when I wasn't here, didn't issue fines, but our precedence is that we issue fines for every single violation that occurs. So that's what historically we've done. So I'd reserve fining at this point. And yeah, I don't believe Mr. Moran was the cause, so that's going to be out of the question for me.
So you want to plan by October 2nd, is that correct?
That's our next meeting. If you could do the Thursday before,
That's
better?
Madam Chair, the
Yes.
hearing schedule reads material deadline September 28th.
That's the Thursday.
Which you're correct, is the Thursday before.
So you have 10 days.
Nothing else to do.
Good. If it stops raining, you'll be all set.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming
you.
in.
Thank
Thank you.
If I keep
No,
this?
I'm not
Thank you.
opening it up. I'm not opening up for public comment. My apologies. This is under discussion. All right, we're moving on. Discussion 75 Old Farm Road. Is anyone here on behalf of that request?
Good evening, Rauf Makaris with Alpha Omega Engineering. We have a plan that was approved in 2005. The main thing, just the work was all the way to the edge of the wetland, especially for the well. And showing the distance between the septic and the well, we cannot really move the well much. My client is looking to buy the property, build a much smaller house than this one. So hopefully the septic would be smaller, and maybe we can move the well a little bit farther from the wetland, but assuming the edge of the wetland remains the same, is the commission, will commission entertain like getting closer to the, invading the 25 buffer just for the well, or maybe minor grading?
I can't speak for everybody here. Are you going to refresh the flags and refile an NOI?
Yes, everything we're going to be redone from
And
scratch.
what is your exact issue, your separation from
From
the
the
septic?
septic to the well, it's right now it's 102 feet exactly,
Mm-hmm.
and the well is just like maybe 10 feet from the wetland.
Oh, okay, so there was an exception?
I believe that's not my design, that was a previous, somebody else.
Okay. If you can demonstrate that there's no other location, what's going on the other side over here,
Where?
on the bottom there?
Here?
Yeah.
This
No,
is,
Right, oh, that's isolated?
no, this is just, this whole thing is wetland, there is an island here isolated, not going to be touched. So it's
Right, so the southern, hopefully, portion,
here?
where that black line is?
No,
Yeah,
that's a-
what's
that's-
going on
this is
over
a-
there?
This is a driveway coming here with some grading for the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a 50-foot buffer right here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're keeping almost everything outside the 50-foot buffer except right here. And the house, this house will be much smaller, we're gonna move it farther away from the wetland.
I mean, all I can say is the existing plan had it 10 feet from the BBW?
Yes,
Okay. And you're going to reflag everything?
yep.
Re-notify? I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Is that a bridge right there?
No, that's a road, and there is a pipe crossing the road.
There's a wetland
A
crossing?
a drainage pipe, yes. That's an existing
It's a pipe?
pipe, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the road right here.
Yeah, I think if you can demonstrate that there's no other location, and then you've also been previously approved.
Sure. We will try, I mean, this house was four bedroom, we're gonna go with a 3-bedroom house, smaller size. Hopefully the septic system will be smaller, and then we can try to get the well farther
Yeah.
away.
Cut it off on that end?
Sure.
Yeah. Board, any other opinions? No? 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 Okay. I'm fine with it,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
good luck.
Thanks.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
One item, I believe this original order from '05 is a recorded document. I would recommend that the applicant file a certificate of compliance with the old order. Is that standard procedure, or before they
Yep.
file a new notice of intent?
They can do it both at the same time, if you can put your Form 8A in for your COC, no work commenced.
No problem, sure.
You don't need the engineer letter or anything.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good luck. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Request for certificate of compliance, 11 Newport Drive. Mr. Fana? Did you take a look?
I was on that one.
Okay. Anyone here presenting for this request?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is John Grenier with J.M. Grenier Associates on behalf of the homeowner.
Okay, welcome. And your address?
Oh, you're broken up a little bit. I didn't hear you.
Your address is 118 Turnpike Road, Southborough?
Correct.
Okay.
Again, you're broken up a little bit, so if I don't respond, it's because I didn't hear you.
Okay, this is a very old order.
I also cannot hear very well, but Madam Chair, point of procedure question, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I wasn't sure what to do with this, to be honest with you, just because we no longer have a conservation agent. So I wasn't sure if the board reviews these as-built in-house, they do it at the table before they decide to engage a consultant to review it, or if the board was comfortable doing this on their own. I didn't want to make an assumption and assign Brandon to it without the board's consent, so procedurally, I just wasn't sure what to do with these moving forward in the absence of Steve.
Okay. Typically, we would receive the request with the letter of substantial compliance from an engineer or professional, and then Steve would go do a site visit, take video and pictures, and report back. If I'm reading this correctly, the original order of conditions was issued in 2005?
That's correct.
So if the applicant can hear me, or the applicant's representative can hear me, is this cleaning up the title?
Yes, that's exactly what it's doing. The owner, this is I believe, the second owner of the property. He purchased this property about 3 or so years ago, and when he's selling the property, or I think the property's already sold. He's moved to Texas, and this just clears the title for that transaction.
Okay, so I'm seeing the proposed asphalt driveway is somewhat larger. You're still agreeing that it is substantially compliant with the original order?
Yes, in that it still meets the limit of work allowed under your wetlands, your regulations. And in looking, I can kind of understand why they did it the way they did it. because I reviewed the plan from 2005, and they had a garage that was front-loading and then a walkout in the back. And that would have required having, in the back behind the garage, you'd have a 4-foot frost wall below grade, and then you'd have 8 feet of concrete exposed on the backside of the house. And then you'd have to fill in the hole where the garage area is with about 8 feet of structural fill. By constructing it the way they did as a garage under, that made the construction, much more smooth. You were working with the grades that were out there. You weren't placing so much fill on the side of the house, and it probably worked with the contours of the lot better the way it was constructed. But that's my Monday morning quarterback overview of it.
Okay, I see. Thank you very much. Board, any questions or comments? It's from 2005. I think that it was not extended either, so expired in 2008 anyway. So, anything? No? Nothing? Nothing? I'll entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance.
So moved.
For 11 Newport Drive. Mr. Greco made the motion, second by Mr. Fitzpatrick. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Tracy Sharkey, aye.
All right, appreciate your time, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along. New business. Let's see here. One moment. Hold on one moment. Just trying to find the... Mr. Benoit, do you know if you included the notice in the paper anywhere?
It's not in the file to your right, then I will see what I can find.
Okay, one second. Is anyone here presenting on behalf of the applicant for 23 Laura Glades?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I don't see any pieces of paper in your hand, so you're just gonna have to give me a second for the notice. I could Mr. Benoit, I can probably just pull it up on my phone.
Madam Chair, I believe there was an issue with advertising here. I think the ad hit Tuesday prior, which would have been 12th, which makes the 5th day today. It's up to the commission how they wish to proceed.
Can I tell you what happened with that?
Sure.
I'm David Gotro, owner of 23 Laurel Glades. When I placed the ad, the lady at the Telegram told me, because I said I need 5 business days prior to the meeting, and she said I needed the Tuesday through the Monday, if it's Monday night. So she picked those dates for the ad to fit what I told her I needed to, meet the requirement.
Okay. Mr. Fana? Come on over for a second.
Okay.
Was that wrong, or she?
No, you're right. What I'm hearing right is, Madam Chair, Brandon Fanoff. So the ad has to be in 5 business days prior. Okay, right?
Right.
So let me ask the question. You're saying that the ad was in Tuesday's paper?
Yes.
When does that paper come out?
Tuesday morning?
Tuesday morning, okay. So you get all day Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and now Monday, and it's been a full day on Monday, so I'd say that's 5.
That's what she said.
If I can locate it.
appreciate it,
Yeah, you just made it real close, that's what.
I know.
Thank you.
Find the notice.
On those, thank you.
Did you, Mr. Benoit, did you find the notice?
I'm searching.
Okay.
You could always waive the reading.
We know we have it.
Good point.
So 1 second. You can email it to me also if you find it before me.
No.
Okay. Let me just try a different way. Did you get a copy of it in your email?
I did get confirmation of it in my email. When I placed the ad, I did get a confirmation
Did you
back.
see it in the newspaper?
I didn't, because I don't subscribe to the Telegram.
Okay.
I have that here, if you, the confirmation, if you want to see that, but I don't know if that's all I would have.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Because I'm not finding it, so.
I was charged for it, I know that. I have the credit card bill for that.
I know. We got nothing. It was in Telegram, right?
Yep, should have been
Because my
Tuesday.
public notices typically has all of them.
Two.
Where we can look at our minutes if you want. I don't know.
Not finding it?
No.
Do you want to see, I mean, not that it matters if I have the
Yeah,
confirmation
they
of placing
typically
the...
send you, and it'll say advertise on this day. Yeah,
Yes, I'll
if you-
show that.
Okay. If, yeah.
Sorry for the delay.
That's okay. Yeah, typically we want everyone to submit a copy or an email copy so that I can read it at the meeting.
Here it is. Thank you for placing your ad with us, and
Okay, let me see when it ran, if I could.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
if you could, this is Jude Galvin from OHI. I found it online. If you can share my screen, I could show it to you.
Oh, thank you. No, I'll, if
Did you get it?
I have it, you have a publication date on the bottom for Tuesday?
Yeah, I can't hear her either, Matt. I can't hear you guys.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me just,
Someone has to find it.
yeah, thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I see that it was, does it, Justin, does it say on the bottom when it was published?
the 12th.
Huh? When did-
9/12 it says online.
9/12?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. I'll just, I didn't get your message yet. Public meeting notice, Town of Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for David Gautreau on September 18th, 2023 at 7 PM in Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw, Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for determination of applicability work location is 23 Laurel Glades, Douglas, Mass. The applicant is requesting permission to remove 3 trees that are damaged from lightning strikes and are now a hazard to people and property. Public participation will be available by attending the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16th, 2021 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18. Public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. A website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Copies of the RDA may be examined electronically by contacting the Conservation Commission. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so, board, we have a couple trees, damaged, dying trees. And you've submitted pictures.
Yes,
Right.
submitted pictures.
Thank you very much.
And I do have,
Appreciate that.
yeah.
Oh, on your pad?
Yeah, well, I do have them in color and bigger if you wanted to see, you know,
No,
I didn't know if
think
they were going to be.
printed in color.
Oh, okay, good.
7?
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And do you want to take us through the pictures, what we're looking at? I see the steps are cracked.
Yeah, well, I don't know which.
The first set.
Yeah, the first set, that's actually the neighbor's property, because the roots of one of the trees is now, are they coming out of the ground and they're starting to crack her foundation?
Okay.
And that is actually the steps to my deck, which those are the trees that were struck by the lightning. The other tree is the one that's starting to crack her foundation, but those near my property were hit by lightning approximately 20 years ago. And we've had the tree checked a few times over the years, and they're okay till this year. We noticed the leaves were stunted, they didn't provide a full canopy, and that kind of made me wonder. So I asked, the highway department came to check, and they said the tree's hollow, and they said it's just a matter of time, a strong wind could take them down. So we thought before anything bad happens and crushes anything, or I better come and see if we get the, authorization to have them removed.
Okay. And are you planning to grind the stump in place?
We did talk about that, and we probably would do that.
Okay. And how close are you to,
It's about 15 to 20 feet from the water,
okay,
but if, it would be a hand, I don't know a lot about it.
no
but-
machinery?
No machinery, like, so that's what the guy said, it'd be like a hand thing to cut the stump out.
Okay. And we do have in our packet an email from Adam Furno from the highway foreman inspecting the trees, various issues with each tree, stress cracks, past lightning strikes, decay, rot. Board, any questions for the applicant? No? No, okay. All right, I will entertain a motion for a negative determination of applicability. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second.
second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
And just, if you could notify Mr. Benoit before you begin the work,
Okay,
and make sure everything's cleaned up, that'd be good.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We'll have that signed tonight for you to pick up.
Okay,
Just communicate with Mr. Benoit. Thank you.
thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks for waiting.
Thank you.
Okay, old business, public hearing continued, notice of intent, 125 Ledgestone Road.
Good evening. I'm here online. My name is Jude Dobbin from OHI. I believe that the applicants are in the audience in the back in a bright yellow shirt. I can see him.
Hi, yep, he's here.
We have conducted the meetings for this. We've conducted a site walk. Steve was going to write an order of conditions for this based on a couple of conditions that we had put on the plan. The plan was submitted a while ago with the conditions for the tree removal, one tree removal and some vista pruning. And the other thing was the utility poles, just stating that they needed to be relocated in an area that would minimize the disturbance to the resource area. Since we have since gotten the DEP file number, and I believe an order of conditions has been written, so I think we're here to decide on that tonight.
Okay, very good. Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, we are at
Take it.
number 8. So you guys never closed the public hearing for this one? 125 Ledgestone?
I believe you.
Okay.
I would have.
So Jude, you're looking for, close the public hearing, correct? You're agreeable to what was drafted up by Steve?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. All right. Board, do we have any questions or comments regarding this hearing?
I got 76 Manchester Street here.
That's the applicant address. Property address is the 125.
No, I see it, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, this was the site walk we did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then Steve had drafted up their
Yeah.
order. Okay. No further comment from the board? Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding this hearing for 125 Ledgestone? Seeing any?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made by Miss Katie Grace,
Second.
second by Mr. Fitzpatrick. All those in favor?
Kitty Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay. Entertain a motion to issue the order,
Oh.
125 Ledgestone Drive.
Yes, I'll make a motion to issue the order of conditions for 125 Ledgestone Drive with the usual conditions as written up by Steve.
Okay, motion made by Katie Grace, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Kitty Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll sign that
And the
tonight.
board.
Yep. Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
You too. Okay, next item. Public hearing continued, amended order of conditions 175 Southwest Main Street, floodplain storage. Anyone here on behalf of that, good night, on that agenda item? Okay, there is a public hearing continuation request in your folder. Entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to October 2nd at 7 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by KG, second by Mr. Fitzpatrick. All those in favor?
Kitty Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you. And public hearing continued, notice of intent 273 Southeast Main Street, Lot 1. Come on. Welcome, name and address.
Good evening. Jason Clough with Dupree Engineering, 2 Stafford Court, Cranston, Rhode Island.
So this public hearing is for Lot 1, map 266, Lot 13.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Faniff, do you want to come join us at the table? Thank you. So I wasn't here in the last meeting, well, technical difficulties, but I think that there's a substantial disagreement with the stormwater. Is that, do you want to bring us up to speed on the status?
Well, we'd filed applications for 3 lots with DEP, and we had some conversations with the DEP reviewer. There was an initial holdup for issuing the the application numbers. And as part of that discussion, we talked about, the number of lots and the stormwater and everything, and with this being 3 lots, he, at that point, when it was just the 3 lots, and we were going to proceed with these 3 lots without the stormwater, and, in the future, looking at the drainage, that's at the point when they issued the application numbers for the 3 lots.
Okay.
So that was just prior to the last meeting,
So we had numbers of the last meeting.
just barely, like it was that day.
Yeah, but we had them, so, yeah.
Yep. I think he issued them at midday that day.
Yep.
Well, okay. All right. So, so your request, I guess you've issued a letter to us because the board has requested the stormwater to be done, to be completed? Was that from last meeting?
The letter that you have is from the prior meeting, which addressed the comments from Ecotech.
Okay.
Correct. I requested, as acting chair, that you have a stormwater management plan for these 3 lots, or for the whole subdivision, but I understand that the rest of the subdivision plan is not being presented yet.
Right, so I mean, with the direction that the client wanted to move forward with these 3 lots is that he was going to proceed with these 3 lots and then proceed with drainage with the lots after.
Okay. So, Mr. Phanff, do you want to explain the parent? It would get very, very messy if we would proceed with just the 3 lots, when these 3 lots are part of a bigger parcel that would trigger the stormwater requirements. So, I don't know if you want to just take it away, brief
Sure,
analysis.
thank you, Madam Chair. Brandon Phanff. I'm familiar with the standard as well, is that if it's 4 lots or fewer, stormwater, single-family house lots not required. And I read an email from yourself stating how that is, but there's also another subsection in the stormwater standards, and that's subsection N. And it reads, for phase projects, the determination of whether the stormwater management standards apply is made on the entire project as a whole, including all phases. So what I also read in the email was that there's only 3 lots being proposed right now, and there's no certainty that there's going to be any more in the future. I don't see why you would create a 9-lot A&R subdivision without plans to do all 9, but that's neither here nor there. So I called the reviewer itself, it's Tom Rabula. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I talked to Tom at length about this, and he talked to Judy Schmitz, who's the section chief in Pasero as well. And they absolutely believe that even if they're A&R lots, and you have a by right subdivision on an existing way, that you still have to do stormwater if you're more than 4 lots, and that subsection N does apply. But he did say that, okay, all right, they're not doing 5 lots or more. However, once they do hit 5 lots, it was his opinion and Judy's opinion that stormwater is going to be required, and it's going to be retroactive all the way back to Lot 1.
Right.
Which is why they strongly emphasized that the commission should strongly encourage the use of stormwater and doing some, they didn't say you had to do a stormwater checklist, but some form of stormwater mitigation, dry wells from the roof leaders, maybe some kind of grass swale on the side of the driveway, a infiltration strip before it reaches the road, things that should be incorporated into the design plan now, because once you hit, if and when you hit lot number 5, and you got to go back and do this retroactively, there's going to be new owners. And those new owners are most likely not even going to know what's going on, and it's going to be a complete shock to them. They're now going to have all this extra expense. That the commission should encourage stormwater design now on lots 1, 2, and 3 as you go forward.
Okay.
So that's the story that I got. And also, this is something that I thought of completely, and I don't know how it'll be well taken, but, I mean, if there's only 3 lots being proposed, then why not do a conservation restriction on all the rest of them so we can be assured that stormwater will not be required? Just a
Okay.
thought.
That's the
So
only thing
is-
that would make sense to me,
Okay,
yeah.
so is the applicant willing to implement some stormwater mitigation for the future development?
With the future development, I mean, there's plans to do stormwater. I mean, if,
Right, so you would have to take into consideration these 3 lots when you do that stormwater. So you would already have the numbers and the mitigation in place before they switch hands, before there's houses built on them. So you'd have that data to move forward.
to address the stormwater on these 3 lots as well?
Right, it's going to be retroactive.
And then, what, would we have to come back here with a amended order of conditions?
Nope, so you have your NOIs, right? And then, say we issue these NOIs with no stormwater mitigation, once you hit the 5 lots, we're doing a look back. And I guess we
We
would
could
not,
change the constructed lots.
I guess we would not issue a certificate of compliance unless those lots, and we would still, we would probably extend them indefinitely until you hit the 5 lots, then we go back and you'd have to amend, if it's jurisdictional, amend the first 3 lots. I guess that's another
Yeah, you know,
consequence to
withholding
not.
the COCs is something, but thing is people wait 25 years to do COCs, right?
No, because if he hits the 5 lots,
Right.
you should be hitting them within 5 years, or
We don't know that.
2 years.
Don't know that, but at
But-
the same time, you can always condition it, that you could put it in as a special condition that this will be required.
I think the cleaner way would be to propose some, I mean, these don't seem like very big asks for the mitigation. We also have our local bylaw that we could determine under Section 8 of the local bylaw, determining if the stormwater is necessary or essential to the project's success of protecting the resource areas.
Okay.
So we would hook our hat on that, so I'm graciously requesting to take a look at the stormwater.
Can I have a minute?
Oh, yeah, you can, I mean, you're not ready to close a public hearing or anything tonight, so you
I mean,
can,
that was the intent. They wanted to get orders of conditions for these 3 lots.
they wouldn't be prepared to sign tonight. They're not prepared yet. So October 2nd is just around the corner, so I would suggest, I think you have a little bit of time just to make those decisions, and I think the board would really appreciate that, the cooperativeness, so that we don't have a mess and everybody's underwater right now, all of Massachusetts, so.
No, I understand what
more
you're saying.
than-
So
working
what
with you.
specifically are you looking for? Just dry
when
wells,
you-
stone trenches?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and
Swales, grass swales,
Infiltration trench. at the end of the
Infiltration,
driveway.
strips.
And what exactly, I mean, because when you start talking about, the stormwater standards and everything, it kind of gets into a large
But you
report
can-
and,
But you can calculate your volume that you have on those individual lots, so when you get to lot number 5, now you have all the data.
no, okay,
Yeah.
I understand that. So for now, you're just looking for the practices to be proposed, and then that
No,
gets,
correct, no stormwater report.
Yep.
No checklist,
Right, no stormwater report until lot number 5.
correct.
Right, and then you could, hopefully you're keeping all this data, and you can incorporate that into the stormwater report down the line.
all right.
So that would, and you're going to have to wait anyway for the order, because I don't have it here. So it's not like the timeline would start today or tomorrow. So if you're agreeable just to, couple,
Well, isn't there, if you don't mind?
yeah, no.
The other outstanding issue is we had granted not so much, well, We had granted kind of the separation of lots under the condition that there would be some kind of deed conditioning or a conservation restriction on the area that was going to be left undeveloped, and I haven't seen any paperwork to that effect yet.
Okay, can we go back up a little bit?
Yeah.
Where would the restriction be?
So remember when we calculated the percentage
Riverfront area?
of riverfront area, we were looking at this lot before there were 3 lots. This was all one parcel. And we were looking at the percentage of area in the riverfront area.
Okay, is over, what is is it over 10%?
On an individual lot, yes, so we were going to look at it as an aggregate.
Yeah, you do, because it's originally one lot.
Yeah, but 1996,
Right.
yeah.
And so we granted the percentage of riverfront area as an aggregate.
Okay, why would we need to do a conservation restriction? It's not usable.
Then we need to say that somewhere. Because that's not covered in any of these lots.
All right, I'm playing catch-up with just a tiny bit.
Okay.
Please note that this riverfront area disturbance will need to be included as part of the discretionary 10% threshold for the overall property prior to subdivision. So you're saying that they've overcome the presumption for the 10%?
So I would have to go back several meetings
Okay,
to when we said that we would consider the area, the parcel, as an aggregate.
okay.
And they said, okay, this particular section of, there was a map that's not here anymore, but we had a map at the time, and they said, this particular area will never be
Okay.
developed.
Okay.
And then
okay.
we said we needed some kind
So
of
there-
deed restriction?
There was an alternatives analysis done and it was sufficient.
Right, are they going over 10%
Yes.
as an aggregate?
Right.
No.
Right now with this one lot?
Just the lots.
No, not as an aggregate.
Oh, on the individual lots, they're over 10% for that one lot, but as the aggregate, they're not?
Exactly.
Gotcha, yeah, so
We
you have to
needed,
keep
so
track.
no one of the
Yeah.
lots has that.
Yeah, you have to keep track of the aggregate to make sure that down the line, everybody remembers.
Right, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm reminding you about the aggregate, and I will
gotcha, I
do that
gotcha.
for every one of
Yeah.
these lots.
Yeah, that can always be put in the special conditions as well.
Excuse me? Okay. So we just did this for
I mean, I'm not sure they were over 10% on this one lot.
the aggregate.
No, I've been
of
just
the
talking about
three-
this one lot.
The
This-
3
this-
lots.
The 3 lot, there's nothing proposed on the other lots within the riverfront area. The other 2 lots are all outside of the riparian area. They're only within 100-foot
Okay.
buffer.
Then maybe these 3 lots are fine.
So in this one lot, there's calculations on the plan on the bottom in the center, which indicate that there's a total area of riparian zone of 121,448 square feet, and allowed impact, or 10% would be 12,144, and then a proposed of 11,556.
Okay. Art Allen is not here, I don't believe. I can't see him. But I'm seeing that in the comment on number 3 on his peer review report. He's saying a perennial stream with associated riverfront area present on the lot and work proposed within the outer riparian zone of the riverfront area. A compliant alternatives analysis was provided.
Yes?
It appears that an effort was made to keep the work as far from the stream as possible, and the work has been Please note this riverfront area disturbance will need to be included as part of the discretionary 10% threshold for the overall property prior to subdivision. Oh,
So I think what he's referring to is that
You're
we
right,
can't
no.
just forget about this.
yes.
Right.
Moving
Yeah.
forward, we need to account for everything.
Yes,
But on this one lot,
We're okay.
meeting the
gotcha.
requirement.
So you've got the 600 more square feet for the 10%.
Yes. And we'd made some adjustments along the way, pulled some things back in
Okay.
at some point.
Okay, so there was no motion, there's no waiver, there's just a note. A note that there's that many
That
square
we have
feet.
to keep track of the aggregate.
That can always
Yes.
be put in the findings of fact with the special conditions.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll put that in.
all right.
Oh, I was confused.
No, that's fine. I
It's
didn't
getting
want
late.
us to forget about the aggregate.
Okay,
Because you're right, I
You're
remember
saying
most of these lots were okay.
Yeah, with the other two lots, we were able to stay out of it altogether, so I think
Yeah.
we simplified things with these three.
okay. All right, board, any other questions or comments? That was the only other outstanding.
That was my comment, yeah.
The only thing I see is that the whole area was proposed with the 9 units there, correct? So you're going to do 3, which doesn't require this stormwater. I'm just concerned what happens afterwards. I mean,
Right.
You're going to have new owners, you're going to have 3 different people, and I know from past practices that this can turn real dirty real quick.
That's why we're respectfully requesting the applicant to implement
I think that we should
stormwater
do
mitigation.
To make sure that we're not going to walk ourselves into a corner.
You could always put in a special condition that reminds everybody of this and that it will be required, exactly what will be required once Lot 5 comes in.
Right, but
That's-
building permits get issued and occupancy gets issued, and sometimes the certificates aren't issued for 20 years, so.
The thing is, once you put it in as a condition, it's enforceable. So, I'm just.
We're not saying it shouldn't be a condition.
Right.
I'm
I
saying,
want it in already.
don't want to enforce it.
Yeah, I don't want to have to
Because
enforce
it's
it, we want it
policing,
in
more
in there.
policing.
Yep,
I mean, how else do you want to ensure compliance?
I want to see it on a plan.
yep.
Well, the thing is once they hit lot number 5, they're still going to have to do a stormwater checklist. It's going to have to incorporate the first 4 lots.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you enforce that once lot number 5 comes in? So I'm saying a
I
special
don't know.
condition.
Yeah, we could do both, but I think,
Could also be put in a
I
finding of
think that,
fact.
yeah, I think the applicant's
Which
going
I'm
to come
I'm
back
a
with
big
something.
proponent of those.
so.
It tells a story.
Then let's do it.
Okay. Mike, any comment, questions?
No comment.
Okay. Okay. Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding this hearing? Not seeing any, Mr. Benoit? No, okay, can hardly hear me. So you okay with the continuance till October 2nd? And I could request, once we get, if we're gonna get a revised plan or not, if you could let Mr. Benoit know, and then we can get started on preparing the order.
Okay, so the next hearing is when?
October 2nd.
October 2nd?
I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing
So moved.
to October 2nd at 7 PM. KG Dudley, motion, Fitzpatrick, second. All those in favor?
KG Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is public hearing continued, notice of intent, 279 Southeast Main Street, Lot 2, map 266, Lot 13. Oh, okay. Hi, welcome.
Hello,
Hi.
Jason Clough, Dupree Engineering,
Okay,
two-staff report, Cranston, Rhode Island. So I guess we just have the next application here, Lot 2. This one has,
what? What'd you say?
we have all work outside of the riparian zone and, previously addressed comments that have been raised by Ecotech.
Okay. And similar feelings as the last hearing?
Okay, I mean,
Okay.
it's noted, if that's the way we're going to go here, then the client was looking to close these things out, but I think it's clear now what you're looking for, and, we'll review it with them.
Okay, great, appreciate it. Board, any questions, comments? Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding this public hearing? 279 Southeast Main Street? No? No, Mr. Van? I'll entertain a motion to
Motion.
continue.
Made to continue to October 2nd?
Okay, motion made by Katie Gray, second by Mike. All those in favor?
Katie Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye?
Mike Greco, aye.
Warren, aye.
Okay. And then last but not least, public hearing continued, notice of intent, 283 Southeast Main Street. Yes,
Good evening.
good evening.
Jason Clough, with Engineering, 2 Stafford Court, Grants, Rhode Island. This is lot number 3. Similar to the other ones, we addressed comments from Ecotech. I don't know if there's any further discussion on this one in particular. This one had, last time we had discussed a request for a waiver on some of the items.
Did you submit a waiver request document?
It was in the letter.
Okay, I don't think I had the letter. Did the board vote or give an indication on voting?
No,
Okay,
we did not.
don't think I had that.
Madam Chair, I have the waiver here if you'd like.
No, how many waivers?
There was 2. So basically, the first one was regarding the proposed deck, which is located within the 50-foot limit of building. And we just noted a waiver is formally requested on behalf of the applicant, and the deck's located 38 feet from the wetland edge and is completely outside of the 25-foot limit of work. And then the second one was related to the septic tank and septic piping. And there was some discussion that was had regarding the applicability of the waiver, since it is a utility. And there's a requirement for separation of the leach field, 50 feet, which is being met. And we're talking about the building sewer and septic tank, which are similar to, a sewer service connection. So we are meeting the requirements that would be outlined there. That being said, if necessary, we were requesting a waiver for that as well.
What's the closest point?
The closest point, looks like it's 39 feet, just over 39 feet.
Okay. Board, what's the flavor? Trying to claim the utilities? I would say more so like temporary disturbance.
Well, I mean,
It's underground.
right, but it's going to be within area that's being maintained as disturbed area lawn. So it's not like we're disturbing an area, going across it, and then having to revegetate it. So it's located within a lawn area, much like a utility would be, making a connection to the street. Whereas the leach field itself, which is the piece that has the largest setback requirement, is being met.
Okay. Board, I'd like to give him an indication if we will be willing to grant those waivers and/or vote on them tonight. The deck's going to be just sonotubes or big feet,
Yes.
so your post is 38 feet. And then we have, you have the limit of disturbance at the 25?
Yes, we have the limited disturbance, and we also, on this lot, had proposed boulders or, split rail fence or similar along the
Yeah.
limited disturbance where we were at the 25 feet.
You've got a boulder placement of 50 feet, not to exceed 50 feet. I would think the boulders would need to be a bit closer than that.
I mean, we can accommodate
Okay.
something smaller, if that's what the board's pleasure is.
I don't think I have the updated plan. can borrow yours for 1
You
second.
absolutely can.
Thanks. 283? 283, okay. Changed a little bit. So what brought on the change? Just the comment from Steve that there was no deck, no stairs? So you put decks and stairs on?
We did add those.
Yeah.
And then, per the discussion about it being within the 50 feet and would need a waiver if it was to remain.
Okay. And then,
And they also put
It's
in the
calling
buffer
out.
note.
okay. Okay. Board, do we want to vote on these waivers?
We don't want to, but we can.
Okay.
I could be okay with the waiver for the deck. It's the expectation that the area that's kind of separate from the house on the, what is that, the leach field end? Is the expectation that that's going to be lawn as well?
Well, it would have to be maintained as a grassed area, whether it's, you couldn't let it grow back up into brush, because it's just going to destroy the leach
Cover,
field. So
yeah.
it needs to be some sort of grass.
Oh, I thought the septic was closer, okay.
No, it's right.
No, the leach field's in the other area, and we have the buffer markers where we're close to the 25-foot.
Okay.
And then as far as pumping,
Well,
come here.
it's
You
just a
have to access it,
gravity
yeah.
service.
No, pumping it out, the tank.
Oh, okay. I mean, you'd have access to the driveway, and then they'd drag the hose around to the back.
Yep, just double checking. It's crazy lines on this plan. Okay, board, I'll entertain a motion to grant both of the requested waivers for the tank location and the deck off the rear.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco. Second by Mr. Foreign. All those in favor?
KG Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else in the public have any comments, questions regarding this hearing? I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 283 Southeast Main Street to October 2nd at 7 PM.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dudley,
Second.
second by Mr. Fitzpatrick. All those in favor?
KG Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks. Okay, meeting minutes. And we do have some things to sign.
Oh, yeah, I also have the old one. Okay. Oh,
Took me a
meeting
little bit to
minutes.
get my bearings.
Understandable. Nice binder.
I don't think we've seen them till tonight. I don't know
Okay.
if anybody has time.
Do we want to hold them until next meeting?
So are we looking at, we're looking at May 8?
Yep.
Oh, those are new. It's very exciting.
We could take them home.
Okay.
Me either.
Oh, bother.
So why don't we take those, we'll table those till October 2nd. Mr. Benoit, do you have anything else for us?
Oh, man.
Okay. Board, anything else? Mr. Fanoff? Anything? Is there, oh, they left. Anyone online have anything? Or you just, Justin? You all set? No, thank you. Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dudley, second by Mr. Foreign. All those in favor?
KG Dudley, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very well.